Freudian, Freudian slips. I'm stoked today. How's it going, Danny?
It's going good. How are you doing, Ollie?
Pretty good. I don't know why I always like to give these prefaces because, again, this is just going to be uploaded in a next week compared to, or for listeners out there, it's just literally the next Saturday. But Danny and I have actually not seen each other for a few weeks because Danny was off at a PhD graduation with his beautiful family. And he already had a PhD, but now I feel like he super duper has a PhD. And I'm just so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So that being said, I actually planned an episode. I know, scary. Buckle up. But today, and Danny, I love this because you're not prepared at all. And I think normally, like, I'm the one that likes the surprise. And so I love that today is your surprise. Are you ready for what our topic is today? Wait, first, thinks, kinks, and shrinks it.
Am I doing that?
Yeah,
Cool.
go for it.
All right. So this is Freudian Slips. This is the place where we talk about the shrinks, kinks, and things of the mental health field. And today I have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, I can tell you, we're talking about relationship misconceptions.
Oh.
I liked this one. I was actually working on a different episode, and then randomly these different misconceptions would come to mind because I think it was like adjacent kind of. But I was like, I hear these things all the time in couples therapy, and I know you also do a lot of couples work. So
Yep.
I was like, I think we should pivot, honestly, because I was just so much more passionate in the moment about these relationship misconceptions and why I don't feel like they're accurate.
Okay.
Okay.
I love this. Okay. What do you got?
Right. Okay. So here is the first one. And honestly, I think will probably only go over like 3 today because I think there's so many layers to each one as to why I feel they are not great relationship beliefs. And so, Danny, I'll tell you the first one and then you tell me kind of how you feel about it off the bat. Okay.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay.
I love a good multi-episode arc. So
Right. It's fun. I know, I already have a secondary list that I'm like for next time. Okay, so this one is, if they wanted to, they would.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
An
An oldie but a goodie, if that's still a phrase.
I believe
Yes.
that that this entire thing is just gonna be just dragging me back to high school and middle school. I already, like, I think I'm sweating because it's just of how frustrating this one was. Okay. My thoughts?
Yeah,
If
please.
they wanted to, they would. They would.
If they wanted to, they would.
Sure. I mean, on some level, yeah, that's true. But also the amount of mixed messaging that goes on in relationships, like, no, I'm okay. You don't have to come over. It's totally fine. And then in the back of their head, they're thinking, oh, if they really wanted to, they would have though. Bitch, you said no. You said no. And I have, like, no, I don't have a good example. No, I'm not even going to try that one. No, I take it back. No, she's fine. She's perfect. I love her. She's okay. No, nah.
Oh, were you going to bring up your wife?
There was just some of the things that she says, but it's all joking. That's why I'm like, no, it's not even worth it.
I'm sure there are times to my husband I'd be like, of course you didn't want to, or like, of course you couldn't. It's like, I take my therapist hat off when I'm not at work. Okay. Like, no,
Sure.
I'm not perfect at all. There are times where I'm just like,
I hate this one.
Sure you wanted to.
Say what you mean and mean what you say. If you're not hungry, okay. So here, Mom. I love my mom, and she did not give me this line, but this is an example that I can pull from. When we were out in Florida last week, me and my brother-in-law, my sister, we're heading up to a supermarket. We're going to prepare dinner or breakfast the next morning. And I also said, hey, you hungry? I have a wife and kid. My wife's always hungry. I'm going to get her something. You hungry? She says, no, I'm fine. Whatever. She said no. And so we do the stuff, we come back, we have food, and she's like, did you get me anything? No, because you said no. And that means no. It's like, but now it would be nice if you did. It would be nice if you told me that you actually wanted something, even something small. It's totally fine. But don't give me this shit. I don't know. Am I a bad person?
No, Danny, in fact, I think so I have just for this one. So literally just for if he wanted to, he would. I have 8 different reasonings as to why I don't agree with it. And you are touching on number 3. Would you like to know number 3?
Go.
That's why I was like, originally I had a list of like 6 or 7, and then as I started mapping out why I disagree with these things, I'm like, "Oh, this is turning into a dissertation, and, I actually won't have time to analyze more than 3. We
Sure.
might only get to 2."
Okay.
That's how passionate I am over here. So, okay, so number 3 is so part of the reason why I do not like if he wanted to, he would, is or again, it could also be if she wanted to, she would, like any gender here. It neglects relationship dynamics. So relationships are systems, they are not solo acts. And one person's behavior is often a response to the other's emotional cues or boundaries or communication style. So
Thank
it
you.
assumes a linear cause. Like if you wanted to, you would act on it. But in reality, there's like intimacy and behavior that emerges from interaction, and it's more than just an intent. Like there's dynamics at play that will then you will decide to get or not get your mom food based on her insinuating if she wants or does not want food, or even if you're starting to get the feeling that she is or is not hungry.
Yeah, thank you. Can I say,
Yes.
I'm super excited to see what the other 7
Through 7.
7 more things because I love a good surprise. I love it when you plan an episode, but being the prepared person I naturally am, I do walk into these a little nervous because the thing that's going to come out of my mouth, I need all the grace. I'm probably going to upset a lot of people today, but just that one answer, I think is just so beautifully like articulated. That is exactly it. There's so many cues that like we come off of, like so much of what is being communicated is not even verbal and it's not rude. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be dismissive or whatever, but like when you say something and it's not even like, "Oh, I'm a literal person." No. But like if you say something, I want to honor what you said. Why would I do the other thing? Like don't test me. Just
Because
be
also, I
honest.
mean, there has been a time that someone said they didn't want something or didn't need something, and you're like, "I'm just gonna get it anyway," or like, I think they maybe do want it actually, and, like, I know I've put my, I don't know the expression, my foot in my mouth? Like, I've messed up before because I'll do that honestly, whether it's, like, my husband, my sister, or I'm trying to be nice, and someone else is like, "Olivia, I didn't want this," or it's like,
Mhm.
"Now it's going to waste," and I'm like, "What? That was warm." I'm like, "God damn it, you just wasted a warm thing that I can't even eat because 'cause I'm gluten free," or whatever it is, and I'm like, "Last time I tried to be nice." So, I think it's easier said than done, or, like, in retrospect, it's easier to be like, "Oh, you coulda just wow, you didn't get one for me anyway, or you didn't do that for me regardless," and it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's easy to say now because we're after the fact, but this could have just as easily gone the other way where you got your mom food, overpriced food at these kinds of, theme parks. And then what if she didn't want it? You're like, "Great. Well, this thing's gonna be good for approximately 2 minutes before it's, like, just not as good anymore. We
Mhm.
paid for it, now we need to get rid of it and keep going on with our day."
Yeah, yeah. We
I don't know.
tried
I think we're justified in that.
as hard as we did, we still ended up having to throw food away.
Exactly. Okay. Are you ready for so that was number 3, but now I'll go back to number 1. Are you
Okay.
ready to hear number 1? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay. So number 1, why and again, I will keep using the generic phrase. Well, I guess I'll say if they wanted to, they would. So, if they wanted to, they would. I disagree as a therapist because number 1, it oversimplifies human behavior. So people aren't robots who act purely on desire. Even when someone wants to show up or reach out or express love, they might struggle because of, oh, I don't know, crazy things like fear of rejection, vulnerability, poor communication skills, an upbringing that discourages emotional expression, mental health issues like depression or anxiety, or cultural or gender norms around showing affection. So I don't think quote unquote wanting to is not, I just don't think that's enough. I think there's a capacity needed, there's regulation needed, and there's learned behavior that are all components into like knowing if you can actually execute it.
I think that's such a great one.
Thank you. That one
Hey,
I think is
fair.
a little more broad. Some I think technically kind of fall into that, but explain it a little deeper. But just
Mhm.
off the bat, that felt like the first one to me was like, this is an oversimplification of
Yeah,
how we operate as people.
yeah, and I don't want to, like, potentially go ahead of you,
Please.
but I'm hoping that this is just a dumber version of what you just said,
Yeah.
and that is, like, speaking of different dynamics and all that stuff, like, you're not the only thing that's happening. You know, it's like, yes, I could have done that if I wanted to, but I think that that misconception also assumes that like there's nothing else going on as if it was just that linear, that there's no other things I had to account for. There's no other options I thought of, you know, in lieu of this, I'm going to do that instead. Instead, uh, I just didn't. And it's as easy as that. So
Ooh.
I think that that's a great answer.
Okay. And then, so I'm going to kind of jump around because my number 4, I think, is similar to what you're saying.
Mm.
Because that one is, I think when people say if they wanted to, they would, it ignores external barriers. So
Yeah.
sometimes people don't act on their desires because of the context, not because of apathy. And so
Mm.
there could be financial constraints, timing issues, family expectations, logistical or long distance barriers. So just because someone might want to, they might not be able. I'll use such a stereotypical awful example, but it's like, "Oh, like, that's a really nice piece of jewelry," or like, it'd be so cool. Like, I'd love to own a Birkin. My husband could be like, "Bitch, great. Who what? Yeah, sure. I'd love to give you that one day," in some stereotypical example, which I'd also say I think there's way cuter purses out there, but it's fine. But yeah, it's like, what? If he wanted to, he would. He would what? Get 3 more jobs? What are you talking about? So I think
Yeah.
there are times where it just straight up doesn't even fit the reality of the situation.
I feel this one a lot more when, like, older generations are talking to younger about jobs. Like, if you wanted to, you would. If you really cared about getting the things that you wanted or having this in life or blah, blah, you would just go to work, just go get it as if it really is that easy to have a job that, like, I'm not even saying pays you well. I'm saying, like, that pays you minimum, you know, and then offers prospects for future.
Can we take a moment to address? Because I know how in other episodes we have touched on like different things about running a private practice, da 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 da. You saying this, have you relooked at your healthcare for next year yet?
No, I'm worried. Like, I'm worried to look at any of that stuff.
I literally called the other day, and I like specifically want to leave this in because it's fucked up and it's insane. I looked the other day, and granted, this current year, I'm like, sweet. Me and my husband both work for ourselves. We need to buy our own healthcare. This year was cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I was like very cool with what we pay this year. Knew it was going to go up. That's fine. It went up over $1,000.
Really?
I called and was literally like, at first thought nothing of it. Was like, oh, something's wrong. I'm entering something in wrong. These people will help me. I kid you not. I had this woman on the phone that was like so mean to me at first. And she was just like, ma'am, have you lived under a rock the last 5 months? To which I responded, I am so sorry. I actually kind of have. I'm a therapist and I really can't like just because she's like, have you not watched the news in like 5 months? And I was like, no, I actually haven't. Like
I
I'm a
haven't.
private practice therapist. I really can't immerse myself in those things or I can't participate in my job on a daily basis. It really overwhelms me. We became friends after that. And she's like, no, never mind, girl. I understand. I completely feel you. And I was like, thank you. She's like, let me explain. And so then she just proceeded to tell me how we're fucked and how California, specifically, it might be happening in other states. I wouldn't know. I'm in California. She's like, oh, girl. Yeah, no, this is your cheapest option. This is the cheapest option you have. Am I? I'm like bored. Like, this is the first time in a while I've been a little rattled when it
Sure.
comes to the finance stuff. Like, literally later this week, I'm like, all right, we're going to need to like really go in and make sure all my subscriptions and everything are dialed in. So come January, I am not freaking out about what's being taken out every month. But like, it was the first time, and sorry, Danny, I go on this rant because to your point, this is all I've been thinking about since I did this like 3 weeks ago. And to your point, it's like the first time I was like, okay, people could be working. They could be, and if you just have a few kids, or it's like you just have we also, by the way, have the cheapest rent of anyone I freaking know who lives here. Like, we got just so freaking lucky with rent. There are going to be people that are like solely based on rent and healthcare. They don't make enough to cover it in
Mhm.
California.
Yeah.
And it like genuinely breaks my heart. I'm like, how did, but like some people aren't going to be able to afford to live.
Mhm.
And so sorry, to your point, that's very dark. But you're right. I think there's this there's a little bit of a disconnect between I think how things used to be. And I'm not saying that like however many years in the past healthcare was not a freaking issue. I think it's always been an issue. But I think just currently we live in a day and age where a lot of Gen Zs or millennials, it's like, well, why is it taking this long to find a job? Well, why haven't you been able to buy a house?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's just like a lot of these assumptions that are like trust me, I'm working on it. Like I don't sleep and I work well over 40 hours a week. I'm doing my best.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, sorry, the tone deafness or how that stuff can come across sometimes and just the reality of it is really freaking crazy.
Yeah. Now imagine that all happening and dating, because
Ugh,
that is a huge reality.
oh my
With
god.
people, we talked about this a little while ago, like people are getting married later. And so that
Yeah.
means that they're in the dating phase a lot longer. People are getting married less.
Oh my
And so
god.
there's a lot of people just trying to make relationships happen. It's not that people aren't dating anymore. It's just that I would argue that people are dating more, they're committing less, and part of that reason can be the fact that we can't, that we just don't have the resources to make the life that we all envisioned or the idea that we've been sold. And so, yeah, I'm sorry. If you don't tell me what you want, there are so many other things I can be doing with my time and resources. And it's not out of disrespect. It's just that there are so many things that I have to also worry about. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Okay. No, thank you. Way to bring us back full circle. But if anyone is also very out there who can help with this healthcare system, please help us out because this is crazy. It's going to affect me and Danny. It's going to affect other people, sadly, way, way worse. But yes, exactly. If they wanted to, they would. Not always the case. Here's my next reasoning. So another one is I think which again, in some way, shape, or form, maybe as we're talking, we're touching on some of these. But one of the other ones I had is it confuses desire with ability. So
Mm,
someone who wants to is not equally able to like follow through. And
sure.
so I think some examples or some people I think genuinely don't know how to meet needs, even when they care deeply. So some examples are what if you're raised in a family where love was shown through acts, not words, and you might be dealing with someone who really wants you to verbalize certain things,
Hmm.
or a partner with an avoidant attachment style who's like kind of prone to pulling away, but it's not because they don't care. It's because of like closeness and feeling unsafe. So I think that one touches on things we mentioned, but I think it's more directly speaking to if you don't have the tools, physically are unable, or maybe it's not just physically, but you are like unable to do it.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think it is similar, but I think what really sets this one apart is the desire part. Whereas the other one almost kind of is a backhand to someone's ability. It really focuses on like, well, if you wanted to, you could. Like you actually could if you cared. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, even if this one is like, if you cared, you would. It's like
Yes,
my desire to do all these things is actually very separate from my ability. So no,
exactly.
I like this one. It's similar, but it does have a very important emphasis.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Another one, I think it reinforces passive or all or nothing thinking. So the phrase implies that you shouldn't communicate your needs and that if they really cared, they would just know. Kind of, I feel bad, Danny's mom. We love that you've been here with us since the beginning, but just going back to the example, whereas healthy relationships require expressing needs and negotiating the differences. So it sets up a
Mm.
false test. Like they don't automatically behave the way you hoped, it means they don't care, which discourages dialogue and mutual growth. And I think this kind of falls in line with the like, well, you should have known,
Wow,
or
damn.
like, oh, well, he should have known I always want food. And he's like, well, yeah, but he asked and you said no. And
Mm.
so it's like, I'm confused. I think anyone in that position would be confused.
My good. Do you have like 2 masters or something?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
just a few. You have a fucking PhD, okay? Also, I have to prove to you that I can plan episodes sometimes too. I feel like people think I show up here and I'm just like, whoa, what are we doing today? And it's like, I swear, I'm also an organized person, okay?
This I really do love everything that you're hitting is like, "Shit, alright, cool, what else you got?"
Okay. So you like that one?
Yeah, I really like that one.
Okay. Why not go for another?
Okay.
I think and leave it to me how to throw this one in there. It disregards neurodiversity and emotional expression styles. So
Mm,
some people, especially neurodivergent individuals, express love and interest differently. through consistency, listening, or acts of service, maybe, rather than these like grand gestures. So if he wanted to, he would, or again, if they wanted to, they would, centers kind of one narrow model of an emotional expression that misses the nuance of how love actually shows up for different people who have different brains that work differently.
Okay, I like that one.
Okay, how do you feel about it? This one I think you're thinking more.
This one is I am thinking a lot just because it's from an angle, it's representing a population I wasn't considering when we're thinking about this. So I don't disagree with anything that you're saying. It's just like, oh yeah, I haven't thought about that. I can see that. I think I'm really trying to check my ignorance right now because where I think I might hear this line often or a little bit more is with neurodivergent populations. And so that's why like hearing what you just said is like, okay, I can see that. I like that. So thank you. You're teaching me something today.
Thank you. Because I think it's similar to the other one where, like, you might just not possess the skills, but
Yeah.
not in the same way of, like, maybe it's your attachment style or, like, what you learned in your family growing up, but rather, I can imagine if anyone listening has a neurodivergent spouse, you know the amount of times you've been like, "Please just put the spoons where the spoons go," or, like, "Please close this cabinet." Something that seems so, so, so simple. Like, it
Mm,
feels so little, and it's like if he wanted to, he would. If they wanted to, they would. When the reality is, like, as frustrating as it is, they have a brain, that it's really not that simple. Or I can
yeah.
imagine someone with autism and maybe being in certain situations is, like, really, really difficult for them. And it's like, wow, like, I just wanted to go to this one place this afternoon or do this one thing for my birthday, and, like, you couldn't come, or, like, you tried to make all these excuses, or, like, wow, of course it had to be that we had to change plans. And it's like, yeah, because what might be really, really easy for some brains or some people can be almost debilitating for others. So, sorry, it probably is basically the same point. I just had to throw my neurodivergence a bone there because I see this all the time.
No, I like it.
Okay. Here is how many more do I have? I think I might have two more.
Okay.
I have two more. Sorry. I think it can feed cynicism or self protection. So the phrase can feel empowering because it's like, I won't accept crumbs. Like I want to be treated the way I deserve to be. But it can also be used as emotional armor and like a way to avoid vulnerability or curiosity about a different person's internal world. And so I think healthy boundaries are good. Like you don't want to let someone just completely treat you however they want. And you're like, what am I getting here? Or like I feel completely disrespected. But I think rigid assumptions are on the other end of the spectrum, and that is very unhealthy.
Thank you. This is the one that I feel like I've been biting my tongue on,
Oh,
like just waiting to see if this one will come up.
okay.
This is my knee jerk reaction.
Ooh, explain.
Is like you have your understanding of how a relationship would go, and even if you said it 100 times, like I tell you this all the time, it's I maybe we plug this into the neurodivergent thing, maybe whatever. How you see the world is not how I see the world, and so
Yeah.
yeah, you've told me 100 times, and there is, I think, like an element of practicing to live in someone's world that I think is important when you're in a relationship, but also I think what is really beautiful is being able to have that open dialogue, that open communication, that I don't have to live in both our worlds all the time. I have zero problem. I can be at home. And again, I love my wife. She is an amazing woman, right? I'm at home. I'm playing a video game. I'm reading a book. I'm doing me, right? Just having a great time. Immediately, I get a text. It says, hey, can you do this for me? Can you go do that? Can you change the laundry? Can you put in a load? Done, right? I don't get this. You're sitting here on the couch, you're hanging out. I'm doing all of this stuff. If you really cared, you would do all I don't get any of that shit. We could go down that route, but it's like why? We have so many things that we're trying to handle individually. Just let me know what you need. Talk to me. Just have a small little conversation. Send me a text. Done. Pause. That's why I love video games. Because it's one of the hobbies that you can just stop at any moment, and because I don't have friends, so it's not like I play online with anyone. I just play by myself.
But you
And
do
so
have friends.
I have you. And so, yes, just send me a text immediately. I will drop everything I'm doing to make your life easier. No problem. I'm not going to be anticipating your every need. Don't do that. That's dumb.
Danny, this is gonna, I love when this happens. Wait till we get to the second one, which I was right. I mapped out three. We're 100% Just getting to 2. Wait till we get to the second relationship misconception.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yes, totally agree. Here's my last one on this one. I think it just forgets that growth takes time. So when you say if they wanted to, they would, I think sometimes the person doesn't do the right thing, but then later they can learn how. Or like you both learn how to compromise on that. And maybe when I say, like, ooh, like if you wanted to, you would do this, like that's assuming my way is the right way, kind of like the last point, right? And
Mhm.
so I think relationships often succeed not because someone's always wanted to and did the thing you wanted them to, but because both people stayed open to learning and repairing and evolving together.
That's beautiful. I think that that one really rings true or would be very important to hear if you were in the early dating stages. Again, kind of leading with those, this really is a misconception that if someone truly did care for you, that they would be doing all these things automatically. It's like, oh, we don't know. And you could potentially be just killing a relationship, a beautiful relationship that had you given it time to grow could have turned into one of the best things in your life. But because you're running with this information, well, go get a few cats then. I don't care.
Well, and that's like, I wish this is the stuff we like taught kids in school on just like a very foundational level, even in terms of like their friendships. It's like,
Mm.
I think it's important for them to know like everyone's going to be a little different than me. And there's a way, I think, to tactfully and consciously feel out like, okay, is everything I want being kind of thrown to the side? And this person really just wants it their way or the highway, and it's always going to be that way? Or are we two different people that have come into this friendship and that are going to have to learn how each other operates and how to respect each other and have moments where it's like, hey, like, I didn't like when you did that. Like, I thought we were playing this game and you just left and started playing that game. And I just wish you would have told me. And then, like, I didn't know you just left. So I thought you didn't want to play with me anymore. And it's like,
Mm.
oh, no, I lost interest. I started doing this and I would have loved if you would have come with me. And so I feel like even if these are, like, meditate, why is it so hard to teach fucking deep breathing in elementary school? Like, can we just implement some of this stuff in schools so kids can learn how to talk to their friends this way? And then they learn how to use it in romantic relationships.
Mm, I like that one. That was a really
Yeah.
nice turn into friendships. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that if this shows up in my life at all, I think it's from this realm in a totally
Mm.
innocent way where, if someone was like, well, if we're trying to juggle the option between like going out or staying in, and we're both trying to like anticipate or trying to feel each other out instead of just asking what you want to do. And even sometimes when they do ask, they'll give, instead of giving their honest, like their own answer, they give an answer that they think the other person would really want. And so then we just both end up staying home. And it's like, why the hell did we just sit on the couch all day? It's like, well, if you really wanted to, I think you would have said something. I gave you fucking options and you said stay home. Like, what do you mean? But if you wanted to, you would have, yeah, this one this one comes up.
So sorry. After all 8 of my points, I feel like a good synopsis for this one, or kind of the bottom line, is I think if they wanted to, they would. Sounds like empowerment, but I think real empowerment comes from understanding and communicating and choosing consciously, not simplifying human behavior into a binary test of desire.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that one. Very
I
nice.
even ended on like a Cliff's Notes because I'm like, oh, Danny always has a great way of being like, so, like, in conclusion, boom. And I was like, I can do it too. After I fucking rant on 8 different freaking things about one sentence.
That's great.
All right, now that we're 30 minutes in, are you ready for number 2?
Number 2.
Okay, I'm excited to get your reaction on this one because it is so similar to what you said. And in your case, it's a different example, but the one I use with couples all the time, because I think this one, Danny, comes up for me more than any other one. Like
Okay.
in sessions is like, I want them to want to take out the trash. It's my favorite. It is my favorite.
I see this one come up almost 100% of the time when we're talking about sex. Yeah.
Explain.
This is something that I will hear almost every single time when I'm working with sex. Stereotypically, the guy is saying this about the girl.
Yep.
So when we're talking about desire, or even if I just stay with the word desire, and it's not even necessarily sexual, but just desire. I want to feel like this person wants me. I want to feel beautiful. I want to feel attractive. And if this person actually did find me attractive, if this person really did want to have sex with me, they would. I can't tell you how many times I'm just here waiting, right? I enter every room dick first. I'm ready. Let's go. And so it's like I'm never gonna say no is often the lines that I get. I'm never like I'm ready. I can go right now if you wanted to. And so even if they have an open invitation, it's really a lot more nuanced and complicated. And so yeah, I hear this line so many more times in a sexual realm that if what's the whole thing again?
Like, I want them to want to
I
take out the
want
trash.
them to want me. I want them to initiate.
Yeah, I want them to want to have sex this
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, and good enough sex is good enough sex. It does not have to be fireworks for everyone. A 7 for one person and a 1 for another, those are both positive numbers. I think that's the other thing where, and I don't mean to get too derailed into a sexual realm. This is probably
No,
like
I
a
love
conversation for a
this.
later day, but this is the context in which it shows up the most for me. Is that I think we often want to have the same experience, in that unless somebody is also aroused, no, no, no. Yeah, I want it, but if you don't want it, then I don't care.
It's
And
like,
the other
okay,
person,
then you're never gonna have it.
then you're never gonna have it.
Then you have a
Unless,
window of about 20 minutes once a month, and
yeah,
you really gotta jump on that because once they decide to take a bath or eat a snack instead, it's gonna completely be out.
yeah. I think what this one and the first one as well, I think what this really protects, like if it is armor, I think what it protects is that insecurity of making yourself known. Like these are my wants. And again, if we go back to the first one, if they really wanted to, they would. It does take a degree of vulnerability. It is a risk to say, hey, I would like this. Can this happen, please? And especially in the bedroom, I think we struggle with our sexuality so much that it's so much easier when someone finds us attractive, when someone shows us that they desire us. I then get to be sexual almost like by proxy, almost like as adjunct to their expression because they're acting on their sexuality
Mhm.
by desiring me, by showing me that desire. And so I don't have to actually turn my sex brain on. I'm really kind of just reacting to you. I'm kind of feeding off your energy. And like when people really want their partners to initiate more, I think what they need to understand is oftentimes it's not in their sexual template. It's not their natural thing. If they don't always initiate, then they don't always initiate. And if you want more sex, you probably should initiate more. Like it's not a power thing.
Mhm.
You're not weak if you ask for it more. You don't get points if someone asks for it from you. It doesn't, we're not keeping score. If you want to have sex, and have sex. I think there is so much just beauty and love, intimacy and pleasure that's just being left on the cutting room floor because we're too busy waiting for the other person to ask. And so yeah, I think this is a really, really ungood one. I don't like this one. This one really gets me.
That's beautiful. Golf clap for you. Standing ovation. Everyone in the room. Okay, I hadn't really made the connection to how close this could be to the first one because you even said it. You're like, "Well, I'm ready to have sex, and, like, if they wanted to, they would."
Yeah, yeah.
Where, yeah, it's definitely, especially when we're talking about sex, it is nowhere near that simple. It is so multi-layered. I will say I get similar. I think that shows up almost every sex therapy couple that I see.
Yep.
That shows up. And we need to spend like just a portion of the session doing psychoeducation on how that's just completely unrealistic. Like
Hmm.
that will never happen. It doesn't matter who your partner is. Like this will never just be an even match where each other wants to have sex every time the other person wants to have sex. It's literally
Right.
not possible. Every now and again it lines up and you're like, "Oh, that was fun." But it's like then it's not going to line up and you figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
So, I love that example, Danny.
Yeah, that all stems from like developing a culture of like appreciation, respect, and
Yeah.
pleasure and anticipation. We might experience that at the beginning of relationships, but that's all hormonal. Like that's not actually real. That's not actually happening in the relationship. That is like a lens that we're seeing the relationship through. And so, yeah, I do believe that you can develop that in a relationship, but that's a conscious practice that we will definitely get to later. But
Oh
yeah.
gosh, I think I've told you this before, Danny, but I almost find it comical. I think people have this idea in their head of what like a sex therapist's sex life is like, or I don't know, maybe how we view sex or how kinky we are or something. I know you haven't gotten too many of those phone calls, but I know I have. But what I will say, and that I find kind of comical, is if anything, I think when me and my husband got together, I had to be like, I almost overkilled it. I was just like, "Hey, like, just so you know, this is super like, this will not stay like this." Or like, "Hey, just so you know, like, this is really uncommon for me. Normally, I have, like, a really, really low libido. I hope you're cool with that. I just wanna prepare you." Like, it got to a point where he's like, "Oh my god, Ollie, I get it." He's like, "Do you need to say that all the time?" And I was like, "Okay, that's fair. I might really be overkilling this. Like, I might be," but I was like, "I just wanna make sure you know, because I realize it sets an expectation that is not true, and this is a false reality, and I know that, and I just wanna make sure you know
Hmm.
that currently this is a false reality."
Yeah.
And so, if anything, I think it's funny that people might have this idea of, or we almost have some weird porno fantasy type job, when the reality is like, I'm just over here in my sweatpants being like, "Hey, just so you know, this will not last." Like, "This will die. It will go on a bell curve. Oh, we're just there's no it's all downhill from here." And he's like, "Geez, like, I get it." And not that it has to be downhill in a negative way, but you know what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
doesn't it there's always more sex at the beginning. Anyway, okay, so some of my reasonings behind why I absolutely hate this concept of, like, I want them to want to insert whatever it is, whether it's taking out the trash, doing chores around the house, like your example, Danny, or having sex with me. So number 1 is you can't control internal motivation. So you can ask for a behavioral change. Hence, I honestly love that you brought this up in the last one, Danny, because, like, yeah, your wife can text you and be like, "Hey, can you please do this? Can you do this? I'm over here doing this." Like, whatever. I can ask you for something behaviorally, not an emotional preference. So I think as therapists, we emphasize that we can influence our partner's choices, but not their desires. So expecting someone to want to do something assumes we can shape their internal world, which is unrealistic and leads to chronic disappointment.
Ooh, I love how you said that. Yes. Yes, that. That needs to go like on a plaque somewhere. I need that like on my license plate. That's really good. Yes, because I'm never going to want to take out the trash. I'm never going to want to. It's stupid. It's dumb, right? I will. I will. And I won't complain. I will not complain. They're my blushing bride. She does not do trash. She doesn't do
Oh.
trash. And so there's just a pile of cardboard because she also really likes to shop. And so there's always, every time I come home, there's always a pile of cardboard. And it's like I don't want to do this. I'm never gonna want to. But I will. Yeah. And I'm not gonna pout about it, but I'm also never gonna smile.
Yeah. I'm never going to be like, I actually just wait to come home and see the leftover carnage of the
Mhm.
things that you purchased this week. And there's nothing I look forward to more than walking outside in the dark, throwing this away in our trash can, and sometimes by accident putting it in the garbage, and then I need to take it back out and put it back in the recycling.
Mhm.
I love it every week. I look forward
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. I'll do it. Just let me know. Like, "Hey, trash is full. Do you mind taking it out?" Done. Done. You have to remind me.
Yeah.
You need to tell me. I'm not gonna think about it. So, I love that answer. Yeah, I'm never gonna feel any certain type of if I did like it, I wouldn't need to be told. I would look forward to it.
Mhm.
I just don't care. So, let me know, and I will do it without saying a word, but let me know.
Are you ready for number 2, Danny?
Hit me.
Okay. Another reason why I hate this phrase or this kind of concept is because mature love isn't always about wanting, it's about choosing. So
Mm,
early stage relationships run on wanting. Long-term relationships often run on choosing. So I think a healthy marriage or partnerships involves doing things you don't always feel like doing because you care about the shared life and the other person's well-being. So emotional maturity means understanding that consistent care isn't always driven by a spontaneous desire. It's often guided by commitment, respect, and love in practice. And it feels just like motivation. Like, sure, originally you thought it'd be fun to run a marathon. Now you're running 11 miles on a rainy Sunday for your long run, and you're like, fuck this. When did I think this would be a good idea? It's like you're not always going to be motivated by just the burning passion and desire you have for your partner to want to do this shit. but you decided you wanted to marry them, or now you're in a long-term relationship and you're like, yeah, I'm tired on a Sunday, but they're asking me to do this and I care about them and our marriage enough to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. That is beautiful. That's why when people ask me to define love, because that's usually a topic,
Yeah.
I want to love someone or I want someone to love me, and I'll always throw it back to, okay, well, what is love? And they're like, and it's, well, love is when you love someone. No, the word can't be in the definition. How do you define it? I always define love as a choice, not a feeling. Love is a choice that respects or protects a person's value and health. It is a choice. So I love that one.
Completely agree. Ooh, okay. Number 3, I think wanting to want to can romanticize emotional labor. So when we expect our
Mm.
partner to want to do every relational task, from chores, communication, like whatever it might be, we're idealizing a level of enthusiasm that is not sustainable. And I think it risks pathologizing normal differences in energy, interest, or temperament. So no one has to love taking out the trash. They just have to value that it matters to you. And I know even like for me and my husband, I think just surprise, surprise, as a therapist and maybe also as a woman, I am a chit chatter. My husband walks through the door and I'm like, oh my God, tell me every internal thought you've ever had. I think I'm going to order this puzzle on this one specific. I love the color scheme. I kind of think it'd be fun if we frame it. And he's just like, holy shit. He's like, Ollie, Becca, if you ever watch this, one of my best friends, Becca, lives in Montana. I love her so much. He's like, I am not Becca. Like, you and Becca can do this for hours and hours and hours and hours. And he's like, I'm just a man. I'm a mere mortal. He's like, please. And so it's like, I get it. You can't expect, and sometimes in my not therapist hat, am I a little like, oh, does this mean you don't like me? But or I'll just like, okay, you don't want to talk to me. It's okay. I'll just be here alone, sad. But at the end of the day, I am very glad my husband does not lean into that and try to pretend like he can kind of keep up because he can't. So the poor guy is gonna let me down eventually, whether it's that he burns out or he's finally just freaking honest with me and he's like, I can't do this. Like, I love you, but I cannot do this.
I need you to get in touch with my mom. My mom needs a friend because
I'd
this
love to talk to her.
this happens so much. My mom's super sweet, love her to death. She'll call me randomly. She's like, "Hi, my Danny. How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing good. I'm on my way to work. This and that, blah blah blah." And she was like, "Oh, that's nice. Well, this and this and this and this," and she'll go on for minutes. And then it was like, "Okay, great. I will entertain the conversation, right?" And this is, I think, another reason why you and I work so well. I love you, and you talk a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that because I think what you have in your enthusiasm for speaking, I have in my enthusiasm for listening.
That's wonderful.
And so it's just like, yeah, I'm having a great time. I love to know about your life. I don't have much to contribute to it, but I love to know. And so my mom will talk for minutes at a time and then there'll just be dead silence because I don't have anything to say. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. That's great. You don't love me. You don't have anything to say. And I'm like, Mom, you called me. I didn't call you. So I had nothing. Why do you think I now have all these things to say? Call me whenever you want. I will pick up the phone as many times as I see it, as many times as I can. I have no problem. But I don't have anything to say. If I did, I would have called you. So thank you. And please call my mom. She needs a friend on her way home from work.
I would love to talk to your mom. We just become like besties. And it is funny, Danny, because like my girlfriends, I think are very much like me. Like we are all just little chit chatters. I feel like I almost solely date men that didn't ever really talk. I've dated some that straight up never talked. Didn't bother me a bit. I talked to myself. I'm having a grand old time. And it's like they'd never shut me down, but they would just be like, they wouldn't talk. And I was like, I could care less. I'm just out here I'm like, ooh, should we eat there? Should we eat there? All right, let's go eat there. I'm just like having full on conversations with myself. And they're just like following me through life. And they're like, she's just entertains herself. She's having a great time.
I honestly appreciate that so much. I don't mind a talker. What gets me is the talker that needs me to respond to them, that needs
Yeah.
me to be on their level. And it's like, what? I've already forgotten everything that you said because you talk so much. But yeah, if I could just follow you around, what do you want to do? I want to do this. We should do that. That sounds great. Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
great.
You're
Cool.
like,
Let's have fun. If we ever did hang out, I think we would have an amazing time.
You talk more than you think you do, for what it's worth.
I will say that because I do, and I've mentioned this before, like me being, no, I've totally mentioned this before. I do love the energy. I do love the energy that people such as yourself bring because I know I don't have it. And so I do find it very attractive. I find it very comforting. I find it very energizing, right? And so I can feed off of it when I hang out with you. Also, another really good friend of mine, he's a big personality, and it is a little different when I hang out with him. I can kind of be a little bit more up because it's his energy. So yeah, I don't mind kind of just riding your wave, but if you ask me to lead, no, it's not gonna happen.
It's funny. Oh, Danny, this is great. Okay, here's another one. Another one is I think it shifts the focus from partnership to performance. So when someone says, like, I just wish they wanted to,
Mm,
they're often expressing a need for emotional validation and not
yep,
logistics, I
yep.
think. So, but expecting the constant, like, authentic enthusiasm turns acts of care into like a test of sincerity rather than a shared responsibility. So it can breed resentment in both ways, I think. Like one partner feels unseen for what they do, and the other feels unseen for what they feel.
Love that. 100%. That plug that into the whole sexual bit that I was talking about a little while ago. That's
Yeah,
exactly what's happening.
that's so true. That's like, that hits a nail on the head.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, there's more. Number 5. I think desire follows meaning, and it's not always the other way around. So often people don't want to do something until they understand why it matters or they see how it impacts their partner. So I think our jobs as therapists can be to help partners reframe it. So instead of like, I want them to want to, you can try like, want them to understand why it matters to me. And I
Mhm.
think that is actionable. And it invites empathy rather than this emotional guessing of like what I just internally want you to do or
Yeah.
want you to feel.
I like that. I think also what that does on the flip side is it challenges the person who's actually saying that to, in fact, know their own meaning. Because it's easy for me to say, well, I want you to want me, but then why? Like, why is that
Yes.
important? Well, that's because I struggle to want myself. Because the truth is, what about me should you want? Because I actually don't think I'm attractive. I don't think I'm this. I don't think I'm that. And so if I don't want me, honestly, why would your partner? And so, yeah, that one, good. Great job.
This is basically what you were saying, but I just feel very passionate about it now that you kind of worded it in this way. Yes, I'm trying to come up with an example because I think it can exist in many different ways. But yeah, let's say it's like, I want you to shower me with compliments. Or it's like, well,
Mhm.
why didn't you compliment me on that? I want them to want to like say all these nice things to me all the time, all the time. Yeah, I think at some point you kind of need to turn that around on yourself and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you just want to operate on that and just be mad at this person because they're not doing said thing, why do you want said thing to happen? Like, what is the point of that? And
Yeah.
and is that maybe more of an adjustment you need to make because it's not even healthy.
Mhm.
So, and again, I'm not saying this is always the case, but I do think there are situations where you might just want someone to want to do something that's almost like your internal wiring might not be super correct on that or might be a little toxic or unhealthy or just like something you
Superficial.
would want to work on.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Danny. Okay. Number 6. On this one, I only have 7. Number 6. I think healthy love allows for differing internal worlds, which I think we've kind of touched on in both of these. We idealize emotional fusion. We want our partner to share our same wants. But I think true intimacy allows for separate minds and shared care. So I
Mhm.
think, again, as therapists, we can often reframe this as you don't need your partner to want it, you need them to respect that you do. And I think that distinction preserves individuality while still fostering connection.
I need to write that one down. That one's a really good one.
Thank you.
Before I forget, or truth, don't let me forget that word because
Hard
I honestly
truth.
need to write down what you just said.
I really liked that one. It's so true. I think, yeah, it's funny. I think we say we want our partner to like, oh, like I wish they did this like I did. I wish they like I think I don't know, on first glance, it seems like it'd be easier. It'd frustrate us less if they did what how we would do it, if they wanted to do it the same way we want them to want to do it.
Mhm.
But it's like, if we could take a world where we actually put that into play, do I think your relationship will work? No.
Mm.
Like, I think there's so many reasons why it is beneficial that we are different in so many ways and that we balance each other in ways and that we approach things differently. Like, I want someone I can critically think with. And that when I come at it from one angle, like I'm over here doing one thing and then they're bringing a ladder. And I'm like, why the fuck are you bringing a ladder? Like, I did not consider this. What was your approach? And it's like, well, I don't know. I was going to try this. What was your approach? It's like, that's what I want. If everyone just tried to attack things my way, oh God, we'd be a mess. Horrible idea.
The hard truth thing is you said we idealize emotional fusion, right?
Yes.
I think that's a hard truth. I think that is true, and we do not like that because what I think most people would actually say is, especially in the West, is that we actually idealize differentiation. We idealize individuality. I think the hard truth is that no, we actually do crave that emotional fusion. We because while everyone wants to be an individual, and I think that is what's kind of expressed outside when they're in a relationship, these misconceptions come up a lot for a reason. And that's because we do want, in fact, to have this unity, to have this understanding that's almost like there doesn't need to be any discussion around it, that our love should be the telepathic thing that communicates all this. The fact that we are attracted together to each other means that all of this stuff just lines up. So you should want to do these things. You should feel motivated to do these things because we should be on the same page. That emotional fusion, I think if people actually like take this one might be one of my favorite episodes with everything that you're saying. If they listen to this, that
There's
is a
good stuff.
hard
I mean, this
that
is like people pay me $200
mm,
to just go off on them and talk about this for the freaking hour.
yeah. This one's gonna be a pill for some people to swallow, but I think
Yeah.
it's true. I like that one.
Well, and we have talked about, right? I believe it's in a book called The Myth of Monogamy. I could be wrong, could be a different one. But I really love this concept that, like, we have no freaking idea what we want. We're like, "Ooh, I'll preface, I already have another idea for an episode of why we're all into like dumpster fires or why like you crave these relationships that are just like toxic as shit. Or you're like, oh no, I'm doing it again. You're like, I went on a date with a good guy and you're like, and then this other guy stood me up and then he kind of just like booty called me last second, like he's hot as shit and I'm showing up. It's like I want a whole episode on it. I love the psychology behind why we do this shit. But that being said, we don't know ourselves at all. We're like, ooh, like adventure, things that are exciting, just things that are all over the place and like crazy chaos. Like, what? And then we're like, oh, but like, I just want to feel wanted. I want to feel safe and secure. And it's like, what are you talking about? That hasn't existed at the same time.
Mm,
What are you doing? So I think people are all over the place in thinking that they want one thing. And you and I do not fall, or I mean, like, we also fall victim to this. We are not
yeah.
just like immune because we know these things. But I love the fascination behind, yeah, how people I don't think they don't love to hear these things. I can't, could probably pay you money for the men that I've had to be like, your wife is never going to want to have that amount of sex with you. And again, this is stereotypical, but it is what tends to walk in the room most often. Men tend to have a higher libido. It is what it is. And so yeah, the amount of men that I've had try to be like, well, I mean, like, how do we get her to? And it's like, no.
Hmm.
How do we accept that she is never going to want that the way you want it? It's not happening. Kids are now in the picture. Definitely not gonna happen the way that it was before. I mean, it's like there's just so many layers to it that it's like you're just gonna have to accept a lot of stuff before you're ready to like figure out how you want to move on with this and reshape your idea of what this is gonna look like.
Thank
And
you.
I think again, a big one is like, yeah, my husband, Danny, you're never gonna go home and want to take the trash out, but you're going to
Hmm.
because you love her. And it's like, that is good enough. Sorry, number 7. It's my last one, I promise. I think wanting to want to often masks a deeper emotional need. And I think we've kind of touched on this. Like underneath that phrase is often something like, I want to feel that my needs are important to you. Or I want to know you're invested, not just compliant. or I want emotional connection, not obligation. And once
Mhm.
those needs are named, then the couple can work on how to meet them honestly instead of chasing this like impossible psychic alignment that's just both of us magically wanting you to take out the trash as much as you want me to.
Mhm. Ooh, damn, you're on fire today. I think that one's great. Not that this connects to the last point,
Yeah.
but I think that they complement each other well in the sense that I really appreciated that you ended the last point with needing to accept so that we can move on, because the acceptance part is often where I find a lot of people struggle. Like they believe that that is where the conversation ends. So, all right, my partner just has a low libido, fuck me, I guess. Like I just have to accept that. No, you have to accept the reality so that we can learn how to move on from it. There is a opportunity for you guys to have a better sex life. There is an opportunity for you to have a more cohesive relationship, to have a more satisfying life together. There is a reality where all of that stuff can in fact improve, but you have to start with accepting what you have, seeing what we have to work with so that we can potentially get to those better realities. So I really appreciate that. And I think that shows up here a lot with these more like implicit or covert conversations that are happening. I want you to do this because this is you taking out the trash or you enthusiastically doing all these things. It's so much easier and it's so much more external. Yeah, it's a simpler conversation to have than these deeper needs that I'm struggling to communicate. So no, I like that one. Very, very
I
good.
literally just got up to go get notes that I have from a session. I mean, I feel like we're talking enough about sex in this one. And I think these are just truths everyone need to know. And if this helps, I think it's already a great episode. Let's make it even better. Here's some harsh truths that people don't want to hear that maybe if you wrap your head around, then come to sex therapy. I don't know. Maybe it'll just save us all some time and it'll save you money. So, once women have babies, first of all, you're dealing with sleep deprivation, maybe pain or uncomfortability, body insecurity, resentment, pressure, whether that's like to bounce back or that your partner wants sex, the division of household tasks. So we're dealing with a lot off the bat when people have kids and trying to get back to our sex life or a sex life that makes both of us happy, right? This was all in some medical journal. 83% of participants, and again, this is stuff I use specifically like for certain clients I worked with. So like I literally just pulled this out of my personal notes because I was like, I just want to throw this out there. So yeah, forgive me. Right now in front of me, I don't have the sample size and everything, but for what it's worth, 83% of people in this study did not want or enjoy sex 6 months postpartum. The 8% did not want or enjoy sex 3 years after. A low libido can also lead to physical, hormonal, emotional symptoms. You have drops in estrogen, rise in prolactin, increases in oxytocin towards your kids, but not your partner. From a sexologist standpoint, there's like your spontaneous desire and then your responsive desire. We start from a completely non aroused state if you are the female or the person who has given birth. And then maybe partway through or kind of doing some stuff, you become horny and then desire happens. You almost lose all ability for a while to have spontaneous desire. And again, these are things that I think sound really negative, and there's people out there that don't experience it this way, but for the most part they do. So maybe you should kind of know what's about to happen. It can be incredibly overwhelming getting there, but it can ultimately feel fulfilling if it's starting to help your sex life feel like it's getting back to where you wanted it to go. But yeah, and then I've even heard other research, and Danny, I don't know if you've heard this. I've heard other research that basically says if you have a kid, it takes about till that kid is it's either 4 or 5 before you can start working toward having an even remotely like typical sex life or working toward rebuilding your sex life. And if you have multiple kids, it takes until every kid, till your youngest kid is at least 4 or 5. So if you have 3 kids and they were all about within 5 years of each other, you might have 15, am I doing that right? Yeah, you could have up to like 15 years, potentially, of a sex life being nothing like what it used to be, borderline non existent, potentially painful, like what some people can describe as, and I've even seen in journals, miserable, quote unquote. And it's like, that's the reality of things. Just because
Mhm.
Danny and I are sex therapists does not mean that we're here to lie to you about what happens. But I hope that as dark as that sounds, it's validating if anyone's experiencing this stuff, because I think it's fucked up that we don't talk about it enough. So then the woman out there with 2 kids and a husband that's like, even if he's being as sweet as he can, again, stereotypically is like, I would really like to have more sex and I want, I get what you're going through and da da da. And then you're a woman putting all this pressure on yourself. And it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, we're working against everything to try and save our sex lives by that point. Okay, sorry, I'm done.
No, that's great information. Uh, I also imagine that the healing process, like internally, like if someone were to tear, because like the vagina is like it's not dry, it's like a self-cleaning organ, a self-cleaning thing.
Yeah.
It's not an organ.
I
What
think,
is
if your skin's an organ, I would think.
It's a thing. It's constantly wet, it's constantly moist. And so I imagine like for things to really kind of like heal. I mean, that's part of the reason why my eyes still like fucked up is because like you can't really heal. It's always wet. It's an eyeball. So, oh goodness. Yes. Thank you for that PSA.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, that got dark. But we were already talking about sex stuff and then sorry, I got passionate. Okay. But so for this one, for the just want them to want to, I want them to want to do X thing. I think my therapeutic takeaway, my wrap up to this is it's okay to want enthusiasm, but it's not fair or sustainable to make love contingent on shared motivation. And in real intimacy, we celebrate acts of care, not perfect alignment of desire.
Love that one. Beautiful. Yeah, I do. I think that's great. I do think it's okay. I don't want to shut anyone down. It
Yeah.
is okay to want that stuff. I think that is beautiful and making that known is great. I think when that internal desire becomes like a projection of expectation is where our work begins.
Like, do I wish?
Finding a way to honor both of those things, because you really don't want to
Yeah.
stamp one out. You don't want to pathologize someone's lack of desire and you don't want to shut down someone's desire. You really do want to try and find a way to respect and honor both of them. So, great job. I'm in love with you. You're doing
Thank
amazing.
you.
This is
Thank
beautiful.
you. I know I'm basically just connecting this one at the end again to kids, but it's like I feel like I even try to practice it with myself. Like to your point of like, yes, like it's okay to feel that way. No one's saying like you can't want them to want to do it. Like that is fair. I get that you want them to want to. Absolutely. I want my husband to be a little bit more chitty chatty at times, but he's not. And so it's like I'm allowed to have a minute with myself where sometimes, especially if I'm really into a topic or I can tell I'm stoked on something and he's had a long day and like doesn't want to talk yet, I'm like, it's okay. I'm just gonna wait 5 minutes, talk to him later. It's gonna be fine. It's like I picture the little kid that like just lost the game. And like, do they need to let this ruin the entire rest of their afternoon? No. But it's like, yeah, like give them a minute to be like, "Man, we almost won there. And I caught the ball and I really thought we had it, and I just couldn't run back fast enough. And it's like, yeah, like I'd be upset too. I get it. It's okay. You let him have that second. And then you're like, all right, so are we going to go get ice cream? Or do we want a burger? It's up to you. It's your call. What are we doing? And it's like, okay, like it's an ice cream day. And it's like, yeah, it is. Like, come on, champ, let's go. And it's like, get back out there. And so I think similarly, be upset about that stuff. Absolutely. That deserves its little space. Oh my God, I'm like choking on saliva. That deserves its little space, but don't be hyperbolic about it. Like, don't be like, yeah, he should want to, and because he doesn't, I'm gonna let this blow up our marriage or how I feel about us. And it's like, oh my God, no. Have a sec. Yes, you wish that he wanted to do that more, or you wish they wanted to have sex with you more. Absolutely. And then figure out times you're going to jack off and, make up for that instead.
Go buzz one out.
Yeah. Figure it out. Are we watching porn together? Am I going to cook while you're in there really quick? Just kind of getting a quickie. I don't know if that's the term, but I don't know. You're just jacking off in the other room and I'm like, cool, you do that. I'll start breakfast. Meet me out there in 5. It's like, just figure it out. It's okay. Might not look how you thought marriage would look, but doesn't mean it can't be fun.
Great one. Great one.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. These were only 2, Danny.
These are only 2.
I was on it. This one I started getting as into as our spooky season ones. We got to find a way to bring that back, not just at Halloween. And maybe instead of like going over cases or research, that was like spooky. We just need to figure out something else because I got so into those. And maybe we just have some that are like, we find some like weird research that would like never be allowed nowadays or something, or things that like were just so ethically or morally like odd, and
Cool.
bring those up because I got so into this.
This is great. You did a
Yeah.
great job.
Thank you. I'm passionate about relationship misconceptions.
I can't wait for the next one.
There's so many. Thanks, Danny. I'm really excited. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad for everyone listening. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is Danny and I's little passion project, and we love it so much.
Yes, thank you to
So
everyone.
thanks for being here. Talk to you next week.
All right, see you next week.